Stick with me, you and I are diving into a romance that almost ruined everything. Caspian and Lyra have been madly in love for 8 years until a sneaky photo of them holding hands went totally viral. Their secret relationship was exposed to the world. To everyone else, she was a massive superstar, the absolute brightest light on the stage. But in Caspian's heart, she was still just the sweet girl who used to walk home from school with him, his own little moonlight who once waited out the rain by his side. But one night, totally drunk, he spilled his deepest feelings to her. "If my massive crush is too much for you, then let's just stick to being best friends." But she grabbed his tie, looking incredibly annoyed, and basically told him that she wanted to kiss him right then and there. Lyra was his absolute best childhood friend, and they had grown up together in the exact same neighborhood. He carried massive expectations from his strict father, forced to watch his every word and action like a hawk since he was a kid. But Lyra possessed this wild, reckless freedom that he was always secretly jealous of. She seemed like she would stay vibrant and incredibly cute forever. Now, pay attention here. On a warm summer evening, she stood right at his front door spinning a volleyball on her finger, looking totally effortless. The moment she saw him, she threw the ball right at his face, teasing that he was slower than a snail in molasses, telling him to hurry up, but he caught the ball like an absolute boss. All the darkness in his heart vanished just by seeing her. When he asked how long she'd been waiting, she casually claimed it was just an hour. She jumped up like a ninja, playfully gritting her teeth as she shoved the back of his head, then bolted away laughing so he couldn't get payback. The evening sunset lit up her long hair, making her look absolutely radiant in the golden light. He was completely caught up in her bright energy, unable to stop himself from smiling right along with her. But things got intense during their big volleyball match when the rival team started playing incredibly dirty. During the halftime break, a stray volleyball shot out of nowhere like a missile, catching Caspian completely off guard. The heavy impact sent him crashing straight into the dirt, but he shook it off. Getting hurt is just part of the game. But then, the opponent mockingly asked if he was okay. That smug smirk on the guy's face screamed total disrespect, but Caspian chose to stay quiet and keep the peace. "You and I both know she wasn't going to let that slide." Lyra immediately stepped up to the front, eyes ice cold, pointing her finger directly at the opponent's face. "If you can't handle losing, then stay off the court, loser." The rival teams already hated each other, and a massive brawl broke out instantly. The opposing players swarmed them in a heartbeat. Caspian's heart raced, and he threw his strict family rules completely out the window. He charged in, shielding Lyra behind him like a human shield, throwing punches in the chaotic mess. The obvious result was his face getting totally beat up. But the other guys didn't escape easily either. Whining in pain, they asked if he really had to beat them up that badly. Mess with him, whatever. Touch her? Absolutely not. Later, a quiet Lyra patched up his wounds in complete silence. He scolded her for being so incredibly hot-headed, but she just laughed straight in his face. Teasing him about how desperate he looked, she joked that anyone watching would think he was head over heels in love with her. Going all out like that was pretty extreme, right? "Wait, why is your face turning bright red?" He told her to stop making jokes like that. Packing the medical kit away, he retreated to the quiet study room, finally finding a moment to control his wild, racing emotions in the dark. It felt like the top-secret feelings he had been hiding with all his strength were suddenly exposed, forcing him to panic and run away. Because yes, he was deeply in love with his childhood friend. Meanwhile, the school office found out about the massive fight. They called his father, who immediately dragged him to the family ancestral hall to face their sacred tablets. His father spoke with heavy authority. "Our family has been wealthy merchants for generations. Since your great-grandfather's era, we have studied abroad to grow this massive empire. When I took over from your grandfather, I spent 3 grueling years conquering the South American market." Turning around, he got right in Caspian's face, demanding to know if he was truly ready to inherit everything. Caspian clenched his fists, standing completely still. He had heard this exact same lecture over 100 times before. As the only son, Caspian carried the heavy expectations of his ancestors. "Trust me, you and I need to see what he chooses. You and I are about to dive into a world of crushing rules and massive family business. From the exact second I was born, this heavy, suffocating mission was forced onto me. Nobody ever asked if I wanted this life." Under the long shadow of the streetlights, absolute exhaustion completely wrapped around me. I lit a cigarette, taking a deep, heavy drag in the dark. Just then, a bicycle bell cut through the quiet night. I whipped my head around as Lyra hit her brakes right in front of me. The night wind tossed her hair, revealing her beautiful face. Instantly, I hid the cigarette behind my back like a guilty kid, but it was already too late. She tilted her head, giving me a completely unimpressed look. "Caspian, since when did you learn to smoke?" I said I was just playing around, but she ordered me to put it out. Looking at her dead serious face, I couldn't help but smile and quickly crush the ember. "Is that better, boss?" She casually parked her bike and sat down right next to me on the curb, watching the cars rush past us. Even in total silence, A massive wave of peace washed over me. She then smirked, asking if smoking alone meant my heart was broken. Which blind girl has such terrible taste? I asked, wondering what heartbreak she meant. I do not even have a girl I like. She started laughing, her eyes completely sparkling with pure, unhidden joy. Caspian, do not tell me you have never dated anyone. We had grown up together since we were in diapers. Was there actually anything about her I did not know? Could she have secretly dated someone behind my back? Watch closely here. My sudden counterattack totally stunned her, and she blushed deeply as she mumbled, "Me neither." Suddenly, my mood skyrocketed. I pushed her bicycle along while carrying her heavy backpack on my shoulder. We walked together under a star-filled sky. Suddenly, she pulled out her phone and frowned, making me look sideways at her. "What is wrong?" "It is Lara," she replied. "She started a fight today, and is still throwing a major tantrum. Now she is demanding I bring her ice cream, not even caring about getting fat this late." I could not help but laugh. She is just a kid. Give her something sweet and she will be happy. I was incredibly jealous of how Lyra had a little sister attached to her 24/7, despite their constant, endless bickering. To me, a sibling bond like that was a dream. Walking past a convenience store, Lyra marched straight inside. I stood on the sidewalk, waiting patiently like a bodyguard. Suddenly, a freezing sensation touched my cheek, and I quickly turned around. Lyra pulled the cold treat back and handed it to me. "You are just a kid," she smiled. "Have something sweet to be happy." I took it, completely stunned. She had seen right through the dark mood I was trying so hard to hide from her. She knew I was miserable. Let this sink in for a second. For the first time, someone saw past my fake armor into my shattered, empty world. As senior year started, the atmosphere around us became incredibly tense and stressful. The school curriculum was a total joke to me, finding it completely dry and boring compared to tedious physics competitions. I easily cruised into the finals without even breaking a sweat. Even though I did not need these competitions for college credits, my father still demanded that I go because of the prestige, and honestly, it was only because he never missed a chance to use me as his personal trophy. The school sent a private bus to take us straight to the finals. The moment I stepped on, I immediately claimed the very last seat in the back corner. Several girls who made the finals boarded, spotted me, and instantly swarmed the surrounding seats, begging for my phone number. Even after I smiled and politely turned them down, they kept nagging, asking if I was Caspian from class 7. One girl said she sat next to me during the last math exam, wondering if I remembered her. They kept asking how on earth I got a perfect score on such a brutal math test, begging me to tutor them. The constant, noisy chatter in my ears was about to make my brain explode. Suddenly, a familiar voice asked why I had not waited. Looking up at her voice, the instant I saw Lyra step onto the bus, my chaotic, frustrated mind completely shut down and found instant peace. Lyra casually adjusted her backpack on her shoulder, strutting her way to the back before smiling at the girl next to me, saying that we were actually together. She asked her to swap seats, and the girl grumpily moved. Lyra sat right down next to me, flashing a cocky smirk. She teased that she always had to play the bad guy, asking what I would ever do without her. I looked away, hiding my grin. "Then you should probably just stay by my side forever, right?" She leaned in, grinning, asking what I said, but I just told her to forget it. You and I know she heard me, though. You and I are about to watch a crazy, heartwarming story that starts with her shoving stolen milk into my hands. Lyra knew I always skipped breakfast, so she would make up these hilariously wild lies just to feed me, claiming she found it in a dumpster, or that she fought off a stray dog for it. In all our years together, she never used the same ridiculous excuse twice. It was total nonsense, but it always made me laugh from the very bottom of my heart. Taking the milk, I made a bet. "If you actually beat me in this final exam, I will buy you breakfast from now on." Lyra smirked. "Seriously? If I win, you have to eat breakfast with me every single day." And for the first time in my life, I desperately wanted to lose. The exam questions were easy, the kind you speedrun. But the final mega question? Only a tiny handful of geniuses could ever hope to crack it. Maybe Lyra could, but I was not 100% sure, so I left it blank, and even threw away another easy multiple-choice question. I felt incredibly childish and silly playing these stupid little mind games. But all I wanted was to share a morning meal with her. Is that a crime? Then the results dropped. Exactly as I planned, Lyra took first place. I only got second, but I was way more excited for this than any of my real trophies. Walking home after school, Lyra was literally skipping and laughing the entire way, teasing me about finally losing. I could only look at her and smile. I guess I underestimated my opponent. Tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning, be at my door, sharp. I want those famous pan-fried pork buns, my treat. But the exact second I stepped inside my house, my mom grabbed my bag and whispered in a total panic that my dad was waiting in his study. I nodded, but she pulled me back, begging me not to fight with him. I knew what was coming. I did not even have to guess. Another brutal lecture was waiting. To my father, first place was the only thing that protected his pride. And right here, you and I can see I was dragging his pride through the mud. I opened the door, finding him staring out the window. Your teacher just got off the phone with me regarding your big math competition. You only got second place. I tried to tell him the test was hard, and that the girl next door won first. And you actually have the absolute nerve to tell me it was hard? My dad spun around in a fury, smashing a trophy off the shelf with a deafening crash. He yelled, asking why the girl next door was always so much better. Her winning is not a surprise. He stormed right up to me, his teeth clenched in pure anger. Do not think I do not know what you are scheming. Throw away those pathetic little feelings of yours right now. Now watch closely, because this hurt. I looked into eyes just like mine, but they only stared back with ice-cold disgust. The next morning, Lyra showed up at my door right on time, leaning lazily against the frame, asking if I got chewed out by my father last night. I threw my bag over my shoulder and walked out, saying I was used to it. She sighed, calling him crazy. It is just a cheap piece of metal anyway, so take it. She pulled her gold medal out and forced it into my hands. I tried pushing it back, telling her she earned it, but she insisted I take a look at it first. With a cute, mischievous grin, she watched me open my palm. It was her medal, but right in the center, our initials were neatly engraved. My heart absolutely skipped a beat, and I swallowed hard. Why would you ruin a perfectly good medal by carving things on it? She just burst out laughing. We are best friends, so what is mine is yours. This belongs to both of us. Honestly, I was totally overthinking things. I laughed softly and slid the medal into the safest, deepest pocket of my backpack, just like how I buried my secret love for her. If we could never be together, then being friends was enough. At least she would stay by my side. I shouldn't be too greedy, right? When Lyra's birthday rolled around, I handpicked a gift like always, even though her taste was totally all over the place. But she had this crazy obsession with the color pink. Honestly, it is a pretty funny story. The first time I visited her room, there were pink sheets. Every single corner was a massive pink explosion. Ignoring my shocked face, she tackled me right onto the bed. My heart raced as I gasped, asking her what she was doing. She just grinned, rolling over to lie right beside me and pointing up. Why are you so incredibly nervous, bro? I just wanted to show you the starry sky I painted, and that's where we leave it pretty badass, right? You and I are about to jump into a story that starts with her hand-painted starry sky, where every single corner of her world bloomed with sunflowers. I absolutely loved it. On the actual day of her birthday, we were riding our bikes side by side back home from school when we passed a mall hosting a major Sing to Win prizes event. She took one look at the giant human-sized Pink Panther plushie on the prize rack, and her feet instantly froze right there. Caspian, win that Pink Panther for me as my birthday gift. Wait, didn't I literally give you your birthday gift just yesterday? Lyra just shrugged, acting like she had some massive revelation. Oh, that was a pre-birthday gift, but my actual birthday is today. How could anyone outsmart this girl? Her absolute talent for talking nonsense and playing completely dumb was honestly next level. Lyra practically shoved me right onto the stage. Crazy girl. I grabbed the microphone and turned to face the band behind me. I gave them a quick wave. Embrace by Mayday, please. The band members looked totally lost. That is not on our set list. We do not know how to play that. Why not sing a cappella? But Lyra yelled, do not sweat it, Caspian. You sing, I will play. She hopped right onto the stage, snatched the guitar straight out of the guitarist's hands, and gave me a super cocky chin tilt. Let us go. Her fingers strummed those strings like a total pro, and the stage lights instantly locked onto us in that split second. In that moment, she felt like the only person in my entire universe. Turns out, both of us were massive Mayday fans. In fact, every single Mayday record sitting in my room was a gift from her. She was completely obsessed with music, constantly screaming about how she was going to become a famous singer. Caspian, you better start bribing me right now, because the second I become a megastar, you are the first person I am blocking. And I fully believed she had what it took. When she is on stage, she radiates 1,000,000 watts of blinding light, singing out, "Which person loves me? Hold my hand tight." As the song wrapped up, the stage lights completely cut out. I stood there totally frozen, still in a daze. Lyra marched right over and wrapped me in a massive, bone-crushing hug. The fresh scent of her clothes flooded my senses, making me freeze like a statue. With a little laugh, she whispered right into my ear, "I could tell you totally wanted a hug. So here you go." Just like that, I felt like I was floating in some wild, trippy dream, alongside Lyra. That night, she fell asleep, cuddling her new Pink Panther, dreaming in shades of pink. But if it is a dream, you eventually have to wake up. Now pay attention, because right before the big college entrance exams, she dropped a massive bomb. Her family was moving away. My entire world came crashing down in spectacular fashion. Just like that, she moved to a completely different city. A massive wave of loneliness swallowed me whole after she left. Then, my dad gave me an ultimatum. Either study abroad or pick an elite domestic university. I chose to stay domestic. My dad shrugged. If you do not want to go abroad now, fine. Study finance here for a few years first. Once you graduate, I will ship you off abroad for your master's degree. But I do not want to study finance, my dad snapped. It is not up to you. I spent too much cash grooming you. You will listen to me. He had my entire future mapped out, a painfully boring life where I could see the exact ending. Then, the exam scores dropped. I was the top science scholar in the entire province. Even my school principal showed up to congratulate me. Meanwhile, my dad pounded a few too many drinks at the dinner table, threw his arm around my shoulder with a glass in hand, and proudly announced to all our high-profile guests, "My boy Caspian is making me proud. Handing the family empire over to him in the future means I will have zero worries." Literally everyone assumed I was heading to a top school for finance, but I sneakily changed my application to study law at Z University. You see, I just wanted to be in the city where Lyra was. It was not a rebellious phase, and I was not ruining my life for a girl. I had planned this from the start, to be in her city, studying a law degree I actually wanted. That is it. My dad went ballistic, trashing his entire study room and confiscating all my credit cards. You think you are a big shot now? Think you have the guts to change your major? If you are so tough, then do not ever step foot in this house again. When I left, I packed a single backpack and bought a cheap train ticket straight to her city, arriving at 1 a.m. And there she was, under the sketchy dim streetlights at the exit, a slender silhouette standing in the pouring rain with an umbrella. Caspian, how old are you exactly? Still playing the runaway teen game? I just sighed. Lyra, I am officially homeless. She walked right up, held the umbrella over my head, and snatched my bag. Who said you are homeless? Come home with me. Honestly, her family vibe was the warm, fuzzy dream I had always fantasized about. Her parents gave Lyra and Ara total freedom to choose their paths. When she wanted art, they just said yes. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. Let's jump in. Ara's grades were mid, but her parents never tortured her with crazy cram schools. Little Ara was hyped out of her mind, watching me pile mountains of food onto my plate at the dinner table. Caspian, eat these sweet and sour ribs, it is my mom's signature dish. And try these spicy lotus roots, I made them. You have to try them fast. Lyra immediately started roasting her sister, asking if she could shut her mouth for 2 seconds. I think everyone here has heard enough from you. You're literally spitting on the food with your non-stop talking. How is Caspian supposed to eat now? He hasn't even complained, so stop talking absolute garbage. You love sticking your nose in everything. We should rename you the busybody. Why are you even called Lyra anyway? Their parents watched the two sisters bicker with loving eyes, then turned to look at me. Caspian, whatever you want to eat from now on, just tell Auntie. She will cook it right up. Her dad nodded in agreement. Yeah, man. Being all alone out here for college is tough. Just treat this place like your own home. I kept my head down, burying my face in the bowl, shoveling rice like crazy to force down the painful lump forming in my throat. Watch closely, because this is the exact moment he realized normal families actually talk during dinner. That a real family is allowed to goof off and tease each other. Lyra's mom piled more food into my bowl, smiling warmly. Caspian, you know, Lyra was so excited you were coming, she could not sleep. Tomorrow, your uncle will take you kids out for a great time. I forced a smile, thanking her softly. During my 4 epic years at Z University, my dad did not call a single time, and I did not take a single cent from them. I survived on scholarships and hard part-time jobs, cruising through the best 4 years of my life, completely free and unbothered. With Lyra right by my side, those 4 amazing years flew by in a flash. Lyra got into a local arts academy, majoring in her absolute favorite thing, vocal performance. The moment she stepped onto campus, she became a total legend. Sometimes she would drop by the coffee shop where I worked, waiting for my shift to end. Random guys would memorize her schedule, showing up early and acting like it was an accident, just to try and get her social media. She would shoot me major SOS looks, but I would just keep wiping the tables and give her a helpless shrug, basically telling her she was on her own. Lyra would just flash a sly grin, point right over at me, and whisper some secret info into his ear. I know what you are thinking, and yeah, it gets even funnier. The guy's eyes instantly popped while I stood there looking clueless, as my coworker whispered, "Damn, bro, Caspian is hiding a 10 out of 10 girlfriend. Total respect, man." My ears were definitely redder than the cold watermelon juice I was holding right then. Once the guy ran off, Lyra laughed so hard she folded in half, teasing me that my name works like a total charm. Rejecting them straight to their face is too brutal, but realizing she was just using me as her shield actually made me kind of mad. Is it really that funny? Lyra instantly stopped smiling, asking if the joke had made me uncomfortable. If so, my bad. I apologize. Honestly, right then, I just hated how useless I felt. For years, I tried locking my feelings in a vault, but it was like trying to cover fire with paper. My feelings grew so strong that even if I taped my mouth shut, they would leak out through my eyes. The harsh reality I had no power to change made me absolutely furious at my own helplessness. I used to think that as long as Lyra was near, I would be totally fine playing the friend role forever. But I must admit, over these years, I was getting seriously greedy. Graduation was creeping up, and everyone started scrambling for internships. I decided to stay in the city where our university was located. Several law firms tossed offers my way, including the absolute beast of a firm I wanted, June Law Firm. When Lyra found out, she was more excited than me, dragging me out to celebrate. Walking past a custom suit shop later, she literally dragged me inside, scoured through a rack of expensive suits, and shoved a dark gray set straight into my chest. Our big shot lawyer, Caspian, starts his first day tomorrow. How can you walk in there without any fresh style? Try it on. I have clothes, do not waste money. Just try it first. I gave up, putting the suit on. That ridiculously expensive fabric did not wrinkle easily at all. It looked a million times better than my cheap stuff. Lyra stood beside me, her eyes literally sparkling. She tells me I look handsome. And trust me, you and I can both see the outline of a successful lawyer starting to reflect in that mirror. Come along with me as we watch this stubborn, unbreakable guy. He glances at the insane price tag dangling from the sleeve and immediately takes the suit off. Forget it. He has outfits at home after cutting off his family wealth. He has to squeeze value from every single penny now. But Lyra completely ignores his protests. She walks right up, hands the suit to the cashier, and says she will take it. Is she out of her mind? Blowing $20,000 on a suit is totally unnecessary. Lyra just smiles, hands over her card, and looks back at him. She earned this money on her card by writing songs. Before he can argue, she grabs his arm, leans in close, and whispers for him not to sweat it. She can easily afford to support Caspian, so he can focus on the law career he loves. She will handle the cash. Who would ever believe those words actually came out of Lyra's mouth? Caspian smiles, feeling even more fired up to grind harder and absolutely never become a burden to her again. Yet, on his very first day at the firm, he has to call her to haul his drunk body home. Now watch closely, as he goes networking with senior guys, gets totally wasted, and cannot even walk in a straight line. A coworker grabs his phone and dials his emergency contact. Lyra. She drags him all the way back and gently wipes his face with a wet towel. His brain is complete mush. He just keeps apologizing over and over for becoming a burden to her again. Lyra just laughs out loud. She tells him it is fine, and he can burden her as much as he wants. His feelings for her completely overflow right then and there. Tears slide down his face as he reaches out and grabs her hand tightly. He begs her never to leave. She laughs at how clingy he is, promising she won't go, but he desperately insists he is sober. Fueled by liquid courage, he desperately pours out the secret love he had hidden from everyone for so many years. He confesses his love, causing Lyra to freeze midair. She stares at him like a deer caught in the headlights. Unable to read her reaction at all, he totally panics. He tells her they can just go back to being normal friends if it stresses her out. But Lyra demands to know why he did not speak up sooner, asking if he knew how much she suffered. She yanks his tie like a savage. It is obvious this girl just wants to kiss him right now. After graduation, he successfully claws his way into a major law firm while Lyra becomes a massive singer, shining like a diamond on stage. Watching her build her empire from scratch and secure her throne in the wildly competitive music industry, he is genuinely thrilled for her from his heart. Her concert tickets become impossible to scalp, but she always saves a VIP ticket specifically for him. No matter how insane his workload gets, he always makes time. You and I both know his coworkers roasted him for being a total fanboy. He can only lock that joy deep inside, throw on his most basic hoodie, and pull the hood up. He hides in the massive crowd of fans to watch her. He understands every single hidden Easter egg in her music. Because during countless sleepless nights, he sat in the practice room with her, working out those notes one by one. Lyra holds the microphone, sitting casually on the stairs dead center of the stage. She looks directly toward the section he is hiding in. This song, Radiant, is written for a very special friend of mine. Thank you for quietly staying by my side all these years. I want to say my life is radiant, because you are in it. I will stay by your side for the rest of my life. Hearing this, the fans instantly cover their mouths, crying absolute rivers. Some are literally sobbing out loud, heartbroken that Lyra is in love, wondering who this incredibly lucky guy could possibly be. Even though he knows their relationship is totally off the radar, Caspian still panics and yanks his face mask up a little higher. The very next day, Lyra officially goes public with her relationship, dropping some cozy selfies. But here is the shocker, the guy next to her in the photos is some famous male celebrity named Dorian. What is he to her then? Caspian goes looking for Lyra, desperately wanting a straight answer. Even if she tells him it is just a publicity stunt, he can accept that. He is ready to pretend nothing happened. But she blocks him right at the door. She looks at him like a complete stranger and says they are done. His heart turns to a block of ice. His entire body shakes, fist clenched white, demanding to know why. She coldly tells him she just wanted to try something new, and now she is bored. He does not believe a single word coming out of her mouth. And trust me, what they felt over those long years, it absolutely could not be faked. Suddenly, the door clicks open. A guy walks out, wearing only a bathrobe. It is Dorian, the dude from her post. He flashes a sleazy smirk and asks Lyra why she did not introduce her friend to him. Forget him, he is a nobody. You and I both know how much it hurts to hear that. My voice was shaking. Do you need anything else? If not, get lost. We have private business to take care of. Lyra wrapped her arms around Dorian, tilted her head up, and kissed him. He hesitated for a second, smirked, and kissed her back. My stomach did a violent, sick flip. I spun around and bolted straight for the elevator. This was the first time. My heart felt like it was being ripped apart by jagged glass. I gasped for air, but only sucked freezing winter cold straight into my lungs. Suffocating. Turns out the entertainment industry really does rot people from the inside out. Maybe the industry temptations were just too insane. She had already forgotten her true self. To her, I was just an outdated toy she used to play with. Now that she had endless options, I did not matter anymore. I cornered the head of my law firm and begged him for another shot. Right on the day of Lyra's big concert, I had actually turned down his offer to study abroad for training, purely because I would be gone for 2 whole years. Are you absolutely sure about this now? I am sure. Glad you finally figured it out. This opportunity is rare. Go crush it out there. Once you return, you will be a partner at this firm. The moment I boarded the plane, news of Lyra and Dorian vacationing on a beach went viral online. I sent her a text, letting her know I was leaving the country. Now pay attention here. She did not even leave me on read. Years of built-up trust? Completely nuked into dust right then. I was like a ship stranded at sea without a sail, completely lost. During my 2 years overseas, Lyra and Dorian dominated the news. I thought it was just a temporary rebound, but their bond only seemed to grow stronger. Dorian was right there by her side at every single award show. Her new songs were a complete turnaround from her old style. Before, she was fiery and bright. Now, everything sounded incredibly soft, dark, and sad. Dorian had changed her. She seemed so much more mature now. I bought all her vinyl records, locked myself inside, and played them on loop. I was desperately searching for any tiny trace of myself in her words. But in those lyrics, she was only singing about her favorite new partner, Dorian. Maybe I needed to stop being so insanely obsessed. But do you believe in fate? The very night I resolved to let Lyra go, an unknown number rang. I answered, and Lyra's crying voice came through, saying, "Caspian, I miss you." In that split second, I admit my brain completely threw out all logic and common sense. I know what you are thinking. 2 years of hard-earned sanity, instantly reset to factory settings. I could not ignore her tears, because I was losing my mind too. I abandoned my studies overseas, and packed up a whole month early. I booked the next flight home. My boss screamed at me over the phone, demanding I wait until next month. There is a huge legal seminar in London you must attend. I said, I am sorry. Family emergency. I must go back. I hauled my suitcases up to the front door of our old apartment. I typed in the lock code with trembling hands. I feared she had changed the code, but she had not. The door clicked open, revealing dark curtains, blocking all sunlight. Only one dim lamp by the sofa was lit. Lyra was huddled up in a tight ball in the corner of the couch. Hearing the noise, she sat up and stared at me. Her eyes filled with tears immediately. Caspian, why am I dreaming of you again? I fought back tears, walked straight over, and pulled her into a tight embrace, holding her with everything I had. This is real. I am back. Seeing her after 2 long years, I realized her glamorous life was a complete illusion. She seemed like a totally different person. Her bright energy was gone. She just sat hiding in the dark, staring blankly at nothing. She looked like a frightened, scarred little kid, clutching my shirt tightly just to fall asleep. I tried to ask what happened, but she only whispered that the business was toxic and exhausting. I told her to just quit. I will pay your bills. She shook her head, gazing out the window, and whispered that she had no control anymore. I quieted my thoughts before finally asking about her and Dorian. She swore they had never actually slept together. It is just a publicity contract for business. Then, Lyra rolled over and held me tightly. She said, Caspian, you are the only one I will ever love. I hugged her tighter, but my gut was screaming in protest. She was definitely hiding something massive. Trust me, I had to play detective myself while watching her sleep. I quietly slipped out of bed, grabbed her phone, and snuck into the study. I entered her passcode, unlocking it instantly. Her messaging history looked completely normal. I was her only pinned contact, and the entire log was totally empty. Let's dive into a story where one tiny mistake changes everything. I was closing the app, but my finger slipped and switched accounts. It was her old burner account, the one I set up years ago just to farm fan votes. I typed the password and got in. There was only one single person on her contact list, Dorian. Shaking, I opened the chat log and instantly felt like a massive bolt of lightning hit me. My heart went completely numb with pure, crushing agony. Turns out, Dorian had been tormenting Lyra for years like a total monster. He and I were classmates. I vaguely recalled him from back when Lyra and I went to pick her up. Back then, he was just a forgettable nobody who handed her a cheesy love letter. I dismissed him as just another one of Lyra's million annoying, irrelevant fanboys. Time should have washed that away, but nobody expected his harmless crush to mutate into a sick, psycho obsession. He hated Lyra for rejecting him, which meant he hated anyone Lyra actually cared about. So he set a trap to take highly inappropriate photos of her, using them like a nuclear weapon for blackmail. Once he saw Lyra making it big in the music industry, this plastic surgery-enhanced Dorian threatened her for industry connections, digging his claws deep into the entertainment business. He even threatened her directly, straight to her face. Lyra, if you don't play nice like a good dog, I will destroy everyone you love, including that Caspian guy. He is the one you are crazy about, right? His boss at the law firm? We are super tight. That is when I finally figured it out. Look at this with me, the puzzle finally clicked. Why she dumped me so brutally. Oh, Lyra, why did you not tell me sooner? My chest physically ached so much I could barely stand. Lyra grew up in a bubble of warm, gentle family love. In her eyes, the entire world was made of rainbows. She was just too innocent. Even if a street beggar was so obviously scamming her, she would still happily hand over her cash. When her wallet was stolen at the station, she just laughed it off, saying they must have been starving with no other choice. Otherwise, they would not have done it. Raised in a protected greenhouse like that, she was literally just a pure, innocent little daisy thrown right into the brutal entertainment shark tank. How could she possibly fight a demon like Dorian? He took this bright, radiant sunflower of a girl and tortured her into a terrified ghost trapped in endless waking nightmares. I sat alone in my study all night, smoking 2 entire packs of cigarettes. Lyra woke up and came looking for me. Pushing the door open, she saw the phone and my bloodshot eyes, instantly knowing everything. She whispered that I must find her disgusting now, that she has changed. My heart physically cramped with heavy pain. None of this is your fault. In my professional opinion, Dorian's tactics were incredibly sleazy and pure, unfiltered evil. But gathering solid legal proof was going to be a nightmare. I read through their entire chat log again. There was almost no hard evidence left behind. Put another way, Dorian was a complete mastermind at never leaving a paper trail. If he leaks those photos, her career is destroyed. I do not care what happens to me, she is my only sister. I refuse to let her get hurt. I had already claimed her as my own little sister years ago. So, the priority is getting those photos. Watch closely, because I am definitely getting them back. After tracking his schedule, I staged a coincidental meeting at his apartment elevator. Inside, he glared right at me. Then his eyes lit up. You are Lyra's little friend, right? Yeah, Caspian, I remember you. Come to my place. Let us talk. Dorian's assistant took the hint, dropped the bags, and scurried off, leaving just the two of us alone. He slowly pulled off his mask, showing his true, disgusting face. Walking up to me, he slapped a hand on my shoulder. You like Lyra? I do not mind letting you play with my used toys. As his hand started sliding down, I grabbed his wrist in an iron grip. Hand over the photos. He froze, then burst out laughing. What makes Lyra so special? Making you guys beg on your knees for her. You want these photos? Sure, get on your knees and beg like a dog. Yeah, sorry buddy, that is not going to happen. I calmly pulled a digital voice recorder from my suit pocket. Every single word we just said is on tape. Lawyer Caspian, did you forget that recording me secretly violates my privacy rights? Do not care. You destroy her, I destroy you. I know how guys like him operate. His biggest nightmare is losing his shiny, glamorous, high-rolling lifestyle. If this audio leaks, his perfect male idol image turns into complete, radioactive ash. He would never risk that, because he still needs that fake persona to milk the industry. I thought about leaking it to nuke his career, and honestly, you and I know he deserved worse. Look, you and I both know I couldn't just pull the trigger, because Dorian was 1,000,000% the type of psycho who would drag everyone to hell with him. I couldn't gamble with Era and Lyra's reputations, but there was no way I was letting him off the hook. Phase 1 of my plan was getting those photos immediately. Phase 2? Finding enough dirty secrets to bury him forever so he never sees daylight. Dorian sneered, telling me I was ruthless, and he should have known. He said I was no pushover like Lyra since I already knew how to play dirty in the legal world. He claimed we were the exact same breed, but he was dead wrong. I am nothing like him. I might have walked through the dark, but I actually found the light, while he is destined to rot in the gutter forever. Dorian threw the photos and the flash drive at me, demanding I delete my recording. On my way out, I paused at the door to give him one last warning. Leave Lyra alone. I will cross any line to protect her. Try me and see what happens. Dorian just smirked, saying he underestimated me this time, but promised the next round wouldn't be so easy. I took the photos straight to Lyra. Now, watch closely, because this next moment is pure heartbreak. She lit them up, watching the flames turn the photos to ash. It is finally over, she sobbed, shaking violently. I pulled her close, gently patting her back. I have got you now. I honestly believed that getting those photos back meant everything would go back to normal. But I completely underestimated the final boss of this story, depression. It was like a dark, suffocating shadow glued to her, locking Lyra inside a pitch-black prison. I buried myself in a mountain of books on clinical depression, trying to find any textbook way to help her. I took her to elite therapists, planned trips abroad, and even dragged her to theme parks for the roller coasters she used to love. Sometimes she would fake a bright smile just to humor me, even though it looked painfully forced. Whenever she completely broke down, I would sit in the pitch-black room with her, listening to her quiet sobs, while holding her as tightly as possible in the dark. She asked if seeing her like this annoyed me. My answer? Not even 1%. She could be whatever she wanted around me. I never fed her that cliché garbage about letting the past go. I just stayed glued to her side, trying to show her that I understood her pain, and that I was never leaving, hoping it would make her feel like her deepest struggles were finally being heard, so that when the dark urges hit, she would not be so committed to ending it. You and I both know how close this came to tragedy. If I had not cut my trip short that day, I opened the bathroom door, and the sharp smell of blood hit me. Lyra was slumped in the tub, her wrist deeply cut. My legs instantly turned to jelly. I almost collapsed onto the cold tiles, but pure panic drove me forward. I scooped her up, flew through a dozen red lights driving like an absolute maniac, and gripped her hand the whole way, screaming at her to stay awake. I finally pulled her back from death's door. After that nightmare, I became her shadow, terrified I would miss even a single cry for help. I knew she was fighting like hell. Whenever she mentioned Era, she would whisper like a mantra, "I cannot die. If I die, what happens to Ara?" But she would still break down. I took her jogging one night. I literally turned my back for 5 seconds to buy water, and she swan dived straight into the freezing river. I did not even stop to kick off my shoes before diving in, dragging her back with every bit of strength. She collapsed on the dirt, sobbing that it hurt too much and she thought death would finally free her. But the moment she hit the water, she regretted it, asking, "If I die, what happens to Ara? What happens to my parents? And what happens to you?" That was when I finally broke. 1 second later, and I would have been too late. I told her I would teach her to swim. That way, if you do something impulsive and regret it when I am not around, you can save your own life. To give her a reason to live, I had her write a bucket list of 100 things to do together. She filled a notebook with wishes, and her eyes slowly started shining again. She even suggested going to a concert. She wanted to visit our old school and eat Auntie Mabel's famous pork buns again. For her birthday, she wanted to buy a sports car and have me film her ugly crying face. I would do anything for her. Watching her smile again? Trust me, you and I both know it was worth everything. Come along with me, we are about to watch a broken soul finally find hope again. I was 100% sure of it. For Lyra's birthday, I custom forged a pair of rings myself because she always complained I just threw money at her. Zero effort, she used to say. So this time, the moment she walked in, I casually left the rings sitting right on the dining table. She picked them up, completely unable to fight the massive grin taking over her face. "Couple rings? Yep, happy birthday." She was stunned for a second, then laughed, asking if this was not insanely cheesy. Gifting couple rings? That is what she said out loud, but her smile was permanently glued to her face. She slid the ring on, whipped out her phone, and snapped like 50 photos before turning back to me. "A cheap handmade ring and you think you are off the hook? There is actually more, but it is not ready yet. Just wait until you get back from your big birthday bash. I will show you then." I had even rigged our bedroom ceiling with that beautiful starry sky projector she loved. It was only missing one final wire connection. Once she got back from the fan event, it would be ready for her. After the fan event is over, she wants us to swing by her parents' house, where they are all waiting for a family dinner. She said I should come, but I probably shouldn't, right? Ever since Lyra and I got together, I developed this massive phobia of her family, actively dodging them like the plague. I was terrified of seeing disappointment in her parents' eyes, but watch closely because she completely read my mind. She squatted down right in front of me, tangling her fingers with mine and lightly drawing circles on the palm of my hand. "Caspian, I know what is messing with your head, but it has been 8 years. I want to officially reintroduce you to my family with a brand new title." She smiled and nodded seriously, saying I was her son during the absolute darkest timeline of her life. "Without you, I would literally be in the ground right now. They're going to be so thrilled." When it came to relationship stuff, Lyra had 10 times more guts than I did, probably because of her family background. Growing up in a house overflowing with love gives you that bulletproof confidence, and this time we would face the music together. Her fans threw an insanely massive birthday bash for her, but I skipped the actual event. Sticking to the master plan, She handles the fans while I go hunt for gifts for our official Meet the Parents 2.0. The second her event wrapped up, we were going to drive straight from the venue to her parents' place. We planned to link up right downstairs at her building. I nervously stared in the mirror, telling the stylist to trim my hair a tiny bit more. The stylist was this cute girl. She adjusted my head, laughing. Let's be honest, you and I would be sweating bullets too if we had to meet the in-laws today. Oh my gosh, meeting the in-laws is going to be a breeze for you. You look so handsome. She joked that my mother-in-law was probably dying to hand her daughter over. I stayed quiet, but had a massive goofy grin. The television in the salon was streaming Lyra's birthday event live, and her fans were absolutely spoiling her rotten. They even themed the entire party pink around her obsession, and I watched with a smile as she sang her new track on stage. She wrote this one specifically for Ara. I wonder if she finds out, will she cry like a baby? I haven't seen her in forever. I got her a present this time, too, since she is probably a fully grown adult now. I wondered if she would still hug me like the old days. Suddenly, the stylist's hand jerked as she stared at the television and screamed. The internet was saying Dorian and Lyra broke up since they had not been seen together in ages. But look, he actually showed up tonight, killing all the rumors. Just like that, my heart dropped straight into my stomach. I glared at the television as the live broadcast showed Dorian rolling up in a sleek black suit right in front of millions of screaming fans. He walked up and locked Lyra in a massive hug, causing my fist to instantly clench tight. The second the event ended, Lyra called me immediately, begging me not to get mad, because she had zero clue Dorian would show up. I know how long we have been together, so I at least trust you that much. It was painfully obvious Dorian was just leeching off Lyra's clout, milking their couple aesthetic for everything it was worth. Since rumors of their breakup hit the web, his sponsors probably threatened to drop him, so he crashed her party to desperately save face. I am glad you understand. I will draft a statement to clear this up tomorrow, but right now I am rushing home. She asked if I had headed out yet. I was already behind the wheel, glancing at the clock and driving to her place. I will see you downstairs in a bit. Time for this underdog to finally go meet the in-laws. I actually laughed out loud at that, but trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. Alright, let's jump into a story that starts with a guy waiting downstairs for 2 hours, expecting a brand new life. Her phone just kept ringing. No answer. Then, out of nowhere, my screen lit up. I answered immediately, but a stranger's panicked voice came through the speaker. Are you related to Lyra? She is in the emergency room at the city hospital right now. You need to get here immediately. My brain froze up. I could barely process the words. I thought they had the wrong number, but the caller ID definitely said Lyra. The stranger took a sharp breath, shouting through the phone. You are saved as true love in her phone. Are you family? This is a massive emergency. Get here right now. I panicked so hard I dropped my phone under the seat. My hands shook violently the entire drive over there. Please let her be okay. Take 10 years of my life. Take 20. Just let her survive this. When I finally sprinted into the hospital, the doctor just looked at me and shook his head. It was a massive car accident. We could not save her. Go say your goodbyes. Her parents are on their way. I will never forget that horrible night. Standing outside the morgue doors, looking at Lyra, bloodied and completely broken, watch closely as I stand there, unable to take a step, finally realizing this was the last time I would ever see her. My legs gave out. I collapsed onto the floor, crawling my way to her side, whispering that it was my fault. It is all my fault. I was not there to protect you. I am the one who should be dead. I held her hand, my heart shattering into pieces, but that familiar, comforting warmth was completely gone. Staring at her pale, lifeless face, it felt like someone ripped my heart out with a rusty knife. It hurt so bad I could not breathe. Loud crying echoed down the hallway. I quickly let go of her hand and slipped behind a nearby door. Alara was standing outside the morgue, too terrified to enter. Her parents rushed in, fell to their knees, and cried until they passed out. Alara finally gathered the courage to walk in. She seemed so much taller now. In my memories, she was always fighting and screaming at Lyra, but right now, she was completely silent. I wanted to comfort her, but she suddenly threw herself onto Lyra and bawled. Sister, get up, stop playing games. Watching her from behind that door, my tears flowed like a broken faucet. Later, I reviewed the dashcam footage of the crash. Just as Lyra's car approached the highway exit, she suddenly hit the gas and swerved across the lanes. A massive semi-truck rear-ended her, sending her car vaulting over the median and crashing violently into the concrete barricade. Now, I know what you are thinking. This looked like suicide, but the mechanics found zero car issues. They found a massive stash of OxyContin in the wreckage along with fresh cut marks on her wrists. Every single piece of evidence pointed to suicide from depression, but I knew that was complete garbage. She was actually healing. She genuinely wanted to start a brand new chapter of her life. So, I made it my personal mission to find the truth. I logged into WeChat on her backup phone and discovered that while she was driving home, Dorian had been sending her voice notes. Lyra, ditching me at your own birthday party is real classy. I am done dealing with public relations nightmares about our breakup. Is Alara really that important to you? More important than me? I am giving you exactly 1 hour. Make a U-turn at the next exit and get back here or I am posting the photos. Lyra texted back that Caspian already had them. Do not try using that trash on me again. Dorian, there is a totally different folder with explicit photos you have not even seen yet. You want them? If you want them, drag yourself back here. Reading those chat logs, I shook with absolute rage. Why could he not just let Lyra live? I started hating myself. 2. I had been secretly building the file to permanently ruin Dorian's career. I was so close, and I hated that I was too slow. I hated that I was not sitting shotgun next to her, and that I did not have the power to bring her back. I handed over the undeniable proof of Dorian's drug abuse and tax evasion directly to the federal authorities. He was facing guaranteed prison time. But honestly, that punishment was a total joke compared to the pain of losing Lyra. But thankfully, karma always comes around. Dorian tried to flee across the border, speeding away in his sports car. His engine suddenly exploded. He was trapped inside the flaming wreckage and burned alive. I visited Lyra's grave to talk. I told her that once I finished her 100-item bucket list, I would join her. I bought the Ferrari for her, and ate Auntie Mabel's pork buns all by myself. I flew solo to Brazil for a soccer match and watched the northern lights in Iceland. And that's where we leave our journey, at the Mayday concert in Bird's Nest Stadium, completing her 100 wish list. Let's dive in as Mayday brought their Noah's Ark 10th anniversary tour back to the Bird's Nest. This was a massive milestone, celebrating 10 years since their 2012 debut. If Lyra was here, she'd have lost her mind. Her idols were still completely crushing it on stage. She definitely would have been in the crowd, crying her eyes out. As the concert wrapped up and the stadium emptied out, I honestly felt like I had just been dumped, just sitting there glued to my seat, refusing to leave for a long time. Suddenly, the girl next to me approached with a flushed face, acting super shy. Excuse me, I've been watching you all night. You are a huge Mayday fan too, right? Can we connect on WeChat? Maybe we can catch another Mayday concert together? I just spun the ring on my finger. Sorry, I am married. Before passing away, Lyra had bought a huge life insurance policy. I was the only beneficiary, which I only learned when the company called. I became insanely wealthy overnight. A long time ago, she had quietly set up a golden safety net for the person she loved. So, when she jokingly promised to pay my bills back then, she actually kept her word. The only promise she ever broke was the one about staying together for a lifetime. After she passed away, whenever I was not buried in work, I would bring her pink flowers, sit by her grave, and just talk to her. She hated being alone, you see. I completed all 100 of Lyra's wishes. Yet, my only real wish was being with her. Now, here's where it gets tense. When I dived into the freezing river, refusing to fight it, her voice echoed in the pitch-black water. Caspian, if you dare die right now, I will make sure we never see each other again. My very last wish is for you to live a truly great life. Please take care of Ara and my parents. My eyes shot open in the pitch-black water. I kicked toward the surface like a madman, and the moment I finally breathed in that air, I felt completely reborn. After all, I was the one who originally taught Lyra how to swim. I told her if she ever fell in and regretted it, she could just swim right back. Who knew I would be the one regretting it? But I swam back. It's honestly hilarious. A completely hidden relationship, a miserable guy who lost his lover on a night like this, failing a completely botched Romeo-style escape. I thought our romance would stay a secret forever. But you and I both know how the internet is a photo of us holding hands went viral. The web absolutely exploded. Our 8-year romance finally came to light before I even had the strength to process the fallout. Surprisingly, the online comments weren't the toxic mess I expected. Turns out, everyone had nothing but love and sympathy for the late Lyra. Meanwhile, Dorian was exposed as a total clout chaser. Caspian was her true love. Seriously, who is cutting onions? They grew up together, saw each other's worst, and loved each other for 8 years. Now that Lyra is gone, just imagine how completely broken Caspian must feel right now. I just realized something. Her song Radiant was totally written for Caspian. Oh my gosh, they were so incredibly romantic. But the only people I was truly terrified of facing were Lyra's parents. We never got to tell them, and they had to find out from a trending hashtag. And soon, my absolute worst nightmare arrived. Her parents reached out and invited me over for dinner. I stood on their porch, pacing, completely terrified to knock. Suddenly, the door popped open. Ara's eyes lit up the very second she saw me. Caspian, why are you just standing out there? Come on in, hurry. Mom and Dad cooked a massive feast today. Ara dragged me straight inside. I stood there frozen, feeling awkward as hell. Her parents had visibly aged so much, and their eyes welled up with tears. Auntie, Uncle, I am so sorry. I honestly had no idea what to say to make their pain any easier, but they walked straight up to me and wrapped me in a warm, tight embrace. Caspian. Oh, Caspian, You have worked so hard taking care of her all these years. We know everything about you two now, but she is gone. What a massive tragedy. I hugged their fragile, shaking shoulders back, whispering quietly that I was so sorry. We really had planned on telling you. Auntie Mabel just cried, gently wiping a tear from my cheek while shaking her head. Do not cry, Caspian. Auntie does not blame you at all. Go wash your hands and let us eat this incredible feast. It felt exactly like the night I ran away at 18. My first night staying at her place was just as warm. Auntie, uncle, if you will let me, I want to be your son. I will step in for Lyra, protecting you and Era. Oh, Caspian, from this day on, this is your home. My eyes completely filled with tears. The year I ran away, Lyra picked me up from the train station at 1 a.m. and said those exact words. Caspian, from now on, my house is your house. After that, I became Ara's protective big brother, which is exactly where you and I leave him. Alright, you and I are diving into a story where Ara is absolutely crushing life with her own super popular design studio. I still swing by her shop all the time to just chill on the couch and bring her favorite snacks. Her older sister Lyra used to do all of this. She loved her little sister more than anything. Now it is my job to keep that love alive. But one afternoon, I fell asleep on her studio couch and dreamed Lyra boarded a train heading far away. I ran after it like a complete madman, but the train just kept slipping further and further away. I screamed her name until my voice cracked, waking up with tears streaming down the sides of my face. Ara was sitting right there beside me, gently patting my back. She asked if I had a nightmare, but I just shook my head. Ara poured me a glass of water, paused for a quiet second, and told me she once had a really long dream too. Pay attention here, because she dreamed she was actually reborn, pulling her sister out of a pitch-black darkness. She told me she knew I was hurting, and that we both desperately want her back, but the dead cannot return. All we can do is live our best lives so she does not have to worry. Ara has grown up so much. I smiled and ruffled her hair, telling her she was completely right. If Lyra could see how mature you are now, she would be incredibly proud. She just burst out laughing. The way her smile curved up looked exactly like Lyra. Oh, Lyra, are you doing okay wherever you are? I fell asleep dreaming you were still right here by my side. Instinct made me roll over to hug you, but the freezing cold, empty side of the mattress shocked me wide awake. Waking up to that cold reality? Trust me, the sheer loneliness practically destroyed me. The very next morning, I went straight to your grave and just talked your ear off all day. You probably thought I was being so annoying. Even without you saying a single word back, I just suddenly missed you so much. I wonder if time will ever let us rewind. Rewind to that humid midsummer day when a sudden thunderstorm trapped me, and you used your school jacket to pull me close, waiting for the storm to pass. Out there in the rain, you held my hand, smiling with eyes brighter than the starry sky. We were always meant to be each other's bravest secret. They say, if longing had a sound, it would be deafening. But missing you is completely quiet. Thank goodness, it is quiet. Look, the wind is starting to blow again. It turns out that missing someone is entirely silent, just like the dead of night. And memories do not just hide in your body. They play hide and seek in the tiny, unnoticed details of life. I walk through the crowded streets, constantly catching glimpses of people who look just like you. By the school gates, Auntie Mabel is still selling your favorite pork buns. The local coffee shop is still blasting your favorite song. Your voice feels so close, yet so incredibly far. Let's remember her together.